Morning everybody, my name's David Duffett. I'm here from England, from the UK. There's a little bit of a bright light back there, so I'm going to do my best to see you. I'm here with my good colleague, Steve Sokol.
Good morning.
And you may remember we did a demo on Tuesday afternoon. It seemed that demo went down well, and we had a lot of people drop by the booth and kind of ask more questions about it. So we're going to do a very, very similar demo. However, we're going to explain a little bit more about Asterisk, and we're also going to do a kind of step-by-step how you build your demo, so you can go home and build your own WebRTC implementation for free. Does that sound good? Okay, so here's our rough agenda. So first of all, we need to get rid of the big lie that people sometimes tell about Asterisk. We'll be doing that. We'll talk about WebRTC and Asterisk, typical deployment scenarios, how to create your own free one, my demo components, because everybody quite liked that kind of wireless Pi that we've got just there. It's in full effect this morning. And we're going to invite, by the way, if you've got Chrome on your browser, we're going to invite you, well, a small number of you, because, hey, this Pi can't handle too much stuff here. We're going to invite you to join on in a little bit, and then we'll do a recap. But first, I know we've all been together for a couple of days, but I just wanted to help you all and us get to know you a little bit better by taking part in a rather exciting practical activity, okay? So what I need you to do is just clasp your hands together. You'll have to put your breakfast and eggs down for just a minute. You clasp your hands together, and you immediately find that one of your thumbs is on top. It's either going to be the left thumb or the right thumb, okay? Are you with me so far? You are with me, okay, good. So, notice which thumb is on top. Any left thumbers, put your hands up if you're a left thumb on top, and keep it up. Just have a good look round at those guys, all the people with their hands up, because the left thumbers, they're the sexy people, right there. That's just the way this works. I didn't make up the rules, okay? Now the right thumb people, anybody with the right thumbs, keep your hands right up. Have a good look round at those people with the right, hands still up, because those guys think they're the sexy people in the room, okay? But fortunately, this talk does apply to both, so we'll just continue. Before I hand over to Steve to give you some key information, I just want to dispense some big lies. Really, I want to get rid of the lie about Asterisk, but...
Dispel, David. You want to dispel some big lies.
Yes, I want to dispel. I don't want to dispense any, I want to dispel them. But in order to frame the big lie, I want to take you through some other lies on a similar magnitude. There is, of course, the general lie of, I'll love you as much tomorrow morning as I do tonight. That's a big lie. The check is in the mail is another equally big lie. I'm from Human Resources and here to help you. A similarly large lie. So with that in mind, here is the lie about Asterisk. And the lie is that Asterisk is just an open source PBX. That's a big lie, because those who know Asterisk know that Asterisk is really a very flexible and powerful open source communications engine that you can set up to do pretty much anything you want. A lot of people do set it up to be an open source PBX, but it's actually much more powerful and flexible than that. So it did actually start life as an open source PBX, but, oh, hold on. Is that better? Yeah. Okay, yes. It originally started life as an open source PBX, but these days, people in the open source community have pulled it in lots of different directions, and it's now the most popular and established open source communications engine that there is. When you get it out of the box, it's ready to work in SIP land and also a protocol that we use for connecting asterisks called EEX, Inter-Asterisk Exchange Protocol. But by virtue of adapters, we can connect it to virtually any legacy interfaces that there are out there as well. And this is what means Asterisk can be your WebRTC gateway to anything, not just the world of SIP, but into the old school PSTN world as well. So if you've got some heavy iron PBX that you wanted to put a WebRTC front end on, Asterisk would be your friend. Okay, a little bit about the community quickly. The project is open source, as you know, and it means that people can get involved, not just writing code. They don't have to be C programming gurus to do this, but fixing bugs, writing documentation, all that kind of stuff. It also means that Asterisk has been strengthened in lots of different directions by the people that most wanted it doing that. So if people wanted kind of contact center-y stuff, they worked on that hard. If people wanted implementations of other technology channels, they did that. Anyway, I'm going to hand over to Steve now, just tell you a little bit more about Asterisk.
Thank you, David. So Asterisk is essentially a couple of things. One, it's the plumbing layer for doing communications. So it is not a pretty out-of-the-box application with a GUI and all of the things that you expect out of an actual PBX. We actually have one of those. It's called SwitchFox, and it has a wonderful GUI, and it does a lot of really interesting things. And it's powered by Asterisk, but Asterisk is somewhere down in the stack providing all of the plumbing capabilities. So it takes care of the protocol implementations, and it has a long list of them. SIP, and as David mentioned, our sort of in-house protocol EX2. Also, MGCP is in there. H323 is still in there somewhere. If you have Unistim phones or SCCP skinny phones, we've got that as well. And all of those are sort of bonded together at the same level. So all of those channels are equal partners, so you can transit calls from one to the other in virtually sort of any configuration you like. All of the media I/O is handled by Asterisk, so it takes care of playing from files, recording to files, doing transcoding from one media format to another. Media management, so the actual process of collecting the data that's associated with media, loading it and unloading it, all of the sort of low-level things that, as an application developer, you probably don't want to worry about, the bits and bytes level stuff. So session management, intermediary services, all of these things are taken care of for you by the Asterisk plumbing. It also includes a series of pre-built applications that are available for your use. You can use them, or you can choose not to use them and write your own applications that make perhaps a lower level layer for your solution. So call routing is built in the form of a dial plan. We have voicemail, conference bridging, and all of these can be used either as standalone applications or as components within a larger application. So it's very flexible. You get to pick how those things fit together, glue it up, and make it work. So how do you use Asterisk? Well, as an application unto itself, so you can handcraft something. You can take Asterisk, install it on a computer, and then you can handcraft the dial plan code, the configuration files, et cetera, to provide whatever specific solution you want. Now that's great, and that's usually the way people start out learning Asterisk. It isn't necessarily the functions that you want if you're going to be building a production reproduced product. But there are a long list of things that you can build out of it on a piece-by-piece basis. Now, if you take it and you use it as the toolkit and the engine for building a product, you sort of approach it a little bit differently. You perhaps use some of the external APIs or interfaces that we have into it. AMI, which is Asterisk Manager Interface, AGI, which is the Asterisk Gateway Interface. You wrap Asterisk up in your own code, your own GUI, your own solution, and present that to the world as you need. And so this gives you a great platform for building custom solutions and custom applications. Also for creating products. We've created products, but there's nothing that says that you can't also take Asterisk and do the same. In fact, we encourage it. I will take a quick moment and say that we also have built a series of phones. These are SIP phones. They're not WebRTC, at least not yet, Mark. But they are the best phones for Asterisk. So we've got three different models, a small, medium, and large. And they provide a lot of additional capabilities. There are integrations between the applications that run on the phone and the applications that run inside of Asterisk, as you'd expect. Of course, it is able to do automatic provisioning over SIP with Asterisk, so the provisioning process is very simple. Set it up on Asterisk, and the phone simply pulls its config and goes. We also have built them in a way that's a little bit unique. They have a JavaScript API of their own, so if you want to build your own versions of the applications or something completely new, you can build that, download it to the phone, and it will actually run on here as a first-class application. So very flexible. So without too much further ado, on to the things that are WebRTC specific. So Asterisk 11. Asterisk 11 was launched this last year at Astricon, which was in October, so about 7 or 8 months ago. It added WebSockets for SIP. So SIP is able to use multiple transports, UDP, TCP, TLS, and now we've added WebSockets as well, which was the first step we needed. This is, of course, a new protocol that's used by web applications. It can provide bidirectional communication between a web browser and usually a web server. In this case, the web server happens to be running on or in Asterisk. We've also integrated support for onboard HTTP within Asterisk. Like I said, there's a web server in there already, so you don't have to bring a separate one. So why WebSockets? Well, new paradigm for communications with WebRTC. So this adds a number of real-time components for audio and video. and implements a number of tools for session management, and of course is defined by JavaScript APIs. So this is all kind of review since you've been here for several days listening to talk about WebRTC. So SIP plus WebRTC, WebSockets plus WebRTC, basically we're enabling Asterisk to communicate with SIP over a WebSocket. So we've got our transport level component taken care of. This gives you the ability to do SIP, but it also gives you the ability in the future to do other things. Since we have WebSockets in there, we could do XMPP over that WebSocket for things like Jingle. And there's also the opportunity to put in custom protocols at some point in the future. And as a matter of fact, when we talk in a moment about Asterisk 12, we're working on an API that will really open it up for building all kinds of additional new and interesting interconnective components. So there are a number of other changes. We, of course, improved our RTP and SRTP handling within Asterisk to make it work with WebRTC. Added ICE support so that we're able to do interactive connectivity establishment. Changed our SDP handling around a little bit to take care of the slight differences in SDP between Asterisk's native engine and what Google's Chrome is handing us. So, and now we're going to do a quick recipe for how to put this together. And David, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you very much, Steve. It just struck me that I have a reputation for throwing English chocolates around, and an opportunity has not yet been created to do so. So I'm just going to blatantly do one, you know, whether it's within the context of the presentation or not. Because I like to throw chocolates around. So the first hand goes up. I love people that just try. So one of the things that's become very obvious as we walk around, and Steve and I would have known this anyway behind the scenes, but as we've walked around, a lot of y'all who have tables out here have actually got products that in some way are based on Asterisk. Asterisk is doing something. It might just be media serving, or it might be doing other jobs for you. So first of all, how many people had heard about Asterisk before they came along? Pretty much nearly everybody. I'm going to randomly give the guys at the front a chocolate because I hurt my throwing arm earlier. There you go. And how many people are actually using Asterisk in any form of implementation right now? That's a reasonable collection of I'll tell you what, you can come up and collect chocolates later. I'm going to put them there, save my throwing arm. But okay, thank you. Let's do a little bit of a demo for you then. So here's your free recipe. You're going to need to get hold of a Linux box. That's not difficult these days, is it? So find yourself any old Linux box. Very, very importantly, you need to add a library for SRTP. As you know, SRTP is mandated in the WebRTC scheme of things. And in order for Asterisk to run with it, it needs to be there, and Asterisk picks it up as it installs. So you always put SRTP on first. If you've already got an Asterisk implementation at 11.0 or newer, then you can add SRTP and recompile with it, and it will add it in. So you get your Asterisk and add that into the mix. By the way, there are full instructions to do all of this, so if you've never done it before, you can go to our wiki and get a lot of instructions and a lot of documentation. And the WebRTC specific stuff is also within the wiki, so it actually talks you through the very kind of granular process of adding in little bits of configuration, so enabling the WebSocket support, doing things like adding the ICE support, and some other SIP settings to get you going. And what you also do is, and it's not actually up there on the list, but it's also within the wiki instructions, is you also configure Asterisk's own little HTTP server, because that's what's going to serve the pages that your Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or whatever is going to pick up. Okay, in fact, it's almost too easy. Sometimes we worry that we make life too easy for people, and this is one of those occasions. So, this demo's on the Raspberry Pi, and again, judging by the amount of traffic we had coming by the booth, quite a few people were interested in the Pi. Some had never seen it before. So a quick bit of background on our Raspberry Pi here. So it was originally intentioned as a small computer to get kids interested in programming outside of, you know, playing Xbox and PS3 and all that kind of stuff. It's ARM-based, running Linux. It's a mass production thing. There's thousands and millions of them out there. And a lot of people have just jumped on them to do lots of other stuff outside the educational world, media servers for their home cinema and that kind of stuff. They're small and limited, but they do have a lot of interesting uses. And there's a number of Asterisk implementations already out there. PBX in a Flash by the guys at Nerd Vittles is one of the implementations. This is a guy in England that made a supercomputer using 64 Raspberry Pis and just kind of cobbled them together for fun, as you do. It's like a little weekend project, right? So what about MyPi? Well, MyPi is just the Model B Pi with 512 meg of RAM there. It's got Asterisk 11.4.0, and by the way, I didn't have to do anything special. I didn't have to kind of, stand on one leg and mention some strange incantation to get Asterisk to work on this. I just installed it, just like I would have done on any other platform. It's also got the DPMA, the Digium phone module for Asterisk, just to make our phones work even more beautifully. It's also acting as a DHCP server for our little network here, and even more, it's a Wi-Fi access point by virtue of a $12 dongle that happens to go into master mode there. So please bear in mind all the work it's doing when we get to the demo, because I'm going to invite a couple of you guys to hook up. And if it does give us any trouble, then we can't really blame it, because it's thinking of a lot of stuff right here. And by the way, if you want to stroke the Pi, this is the way you do it. And you can drop by our table and stroke the Pi at your convenience just a little bit later. Okay, so what are you going to do? What are we going to do? Well, here's the thing. I need 3 people, maximum of 3 people. So I need to identify those, because what's going to happen is if everybody does this, it's going to kind of crash everything and it won't work properly. So can I see some hands for people that have got Chrome browsers and Wi-Fi? There's one guy there. So, okay, guy in the green and guy straight behind him. You two, please, and maybe one other person. Okay, let's go for the guy with the beard right over there. By the way, if you're going to work in open source, it's always good to have a beard. So it's just a requisite. Okay, so you 3 guys now. Please, nobody else do this. You can do it a little bit later on our stand and come by and try it. But if we get too many people, it's going to create an issue. So if you can look in your Wi-Fi, and you should find a Wi-Fi network either called *_pi or *PiExt, because we've got a Wi-Fi extender on the job as well. So if you 3 guys can find that, and once you're hooked onto the network, I'd like you to browse to 192.168.42.1 and then 8088. Password. That's a good question. Now this password is only for you 3 guys, okay? It's WebRTC demo, all in lowercase, all concatenated, WebRTC demo. So once you're on, you browse to that address. It's very important you put the colon port 8088, because that's the port at which I've configured Asterisk to serve this demo. We could have configured any port. I just happened to have made it port 8088. Okay, and you're going to be presented with that first field. Now, you're going to have to put in a username, which is effectively going to be your extension number. So man in the green with the open source beard there. I'm not actually sure whether the Chrome on the iPad is going to do the trick there, but we'll find out. Okay, well, we'll check it out. You can be 701, sir. So that's the user you're going to put in. Guy behind him, you're going to be 702. Other guy with the open source beard there on the far table, you're going to be 703, please. And what you should find is when you have popped those numbers. Oh, sorry, did I say 701, 7? Yeah, that's fine. Keep 701, 702, 703. I'll be 704 in this case. So what you should find is after you've gone through that, you should be presented with this soft phone looking thing, which is in fact a web page serving a JavaScript soft phone from the guys from JSSIP. So let me just have a go at this as well. Yeah, 192.168.42.1, and then the port is 8088. So I'll be 705 in fact. Okay, so what you should find is that you get on and it looks a little bit like this.
David, you'll have to move it over.
Okay.
Slide the whole.
Oh, hold on.
There we
Is
go.
it looking a little bit like that for you? Can you put your hand up when you're at that stage? You guys are at that stage. You guys at the back of the table are at that stage? Okay, good. All right, so if you're at that stage, I'm going to give you some stuff to dial. Once you're on the soft phone, I've got to come over here. So I'll just do this first, and then you all can try it in a minute. If I dial 600, one of the things that Asterisk can very well be used is media serving, whether that's just straightforward playback or recording of files or phone calls or whatever it might be. It can do that. It can also be used for IVR, conferencing, and the like. So I'm just going to play that special prompt that Alice and the voice of Asterisk did for us. I have to click allow, just there. And what we should find is we get a little prompt from Alice.
Congratulations. You have successfully installed and executed the Asterisk open source. Hold on. Wait a minute. I smell WebSockets. Are you listening to this through your browser, you clever geek? I'm Allison, the voice of Asterisk, and I'm very excited about WebRTC too. That's why we're making sure there will be some great WebRTC sessions at AstraCon this year. It's here in Atlanta the week of October 7th. I'll see you then.
Okay, so that's media serving. You guys should be able to do that in a minute. But what I'd like to do is actually dial you all into a conference bridge. This is one of those demos that you never know what's going to happen, especially on a 512 meg ARM-based processor that costs $30. Okay, but let's try it and see what occurs. So I'll go in on 800, and we should hear Alison welcoming us.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
So if you guys would like to go ahead and dial your 800 and get on, and then just say a quick hello once you're in, we should see this all of...
And then cringe from the feedback.
Have we got anybody successfully on?
Hello?
Oh, somebody's on. Who's that? Who's on? Hey, it's the open source beard guy. Well done, that man. Excellent. Okay, guys at the back are on as well. You can say a quick hello if you like. Or maybe not. All right. Before anything terrible happens, I think we've proved the point that you were able to hook up there. So let's move on. Okay, so actually I talked you through that bit. You had to do the allow bit to make it work, and then we heard the lovely message from Alison. So that's all in Asterisk as of right now. However, Asterisk 12 is coming up, and I'm going to hand over to Steve just to tell you a little bit more about Asterisk 12.
Thank you very much, David. So every other year, we release what's called a long-term support, or LTS release. And last year, we released Asterisk 11. This next year is going to be Asterisk 12. Asterisk 11 was an LTS. That's where we take everything that's gone in over the last 2 years and stabilize it and package it up in a way that will support it for 5 years. Asterisk 12 is going to be a new animal. We have, after a long time, undertaken the effort of completely rewriting our SIP implementation. So what has been a homegrown SIP channel that sort of started out as a weekend project that Mark put together back in the late 1990s and has grown to be an enormous ball of mess, going to be replaced with a logical, well-controlled SIP library called PJSIP that's been implemented. We're also redoing the way APIs are done within Asterisk. So up to now, Asterisk has had a series of APIs which all have separate internal code which do separate functions, and which really don't necessarily always play all that well together. All of that is being sort of moved to the back seat and replaced with a new interface called Stasis, which is a socket-based API that will allow you to do command and control of Asterisk at a very fine-grained level. And we've had an entire team of people working on this ever since the end of AstraCon last year, so now for about 7.5 months. And we're getting fairly close to code freeze. Sometime this summer, probably in late July, we'll be freezing it and starting to do release candidates with the expectation of tossing out Asterisk 12 at AstraCon. So I guess throw in a few things here. Deep restructuring. We're going to continue to support WebRTC. I don't know that we have any new WebRTC-related features that are going in. It's like one of those things, it's a rebuilding year. You have to concentrate on the core functions before you can get to all the sort of spice. But we understand that this is the way forward and that this is what's going to be needed in the future. So expect to see lots of good WebRTC things flowing in starting immediately thereafter. And I guess among other things, it's worth pointing out that this is the implementation or the introduction of a REST API for Asterisk, which is something that's long overdue. So people who've been fighting with Manager and other things, relax, we have you covered. So, David?
Okay, yeah, we're just in the last 2 minutes now. We're just going to wrap up. But I wanted to say a big thank you to the guys that authored JSSIP. I've seen it in lots of demos. I think we need to give those guys a round of applause. If you're not aware of it, you can go to jssip.net. It's a free, open JavaScript SIP implementation that allows you to kind of serve things through web pages. So we don't have time for questions, but if you come along to the Digium table on 50, is it 59, I think, out there, then you're very, very welcome to not only ask the questions, but to stroke the pie. And if there's any English chocolates left, you can have one of those as well. So just in summarizing, Asterisk is a mature and open source communications engine. It can pretty much do anything you want it to do. It includes WebRTC support these days. As of Asterisk 11, it's been there. So your WebRTC implementation is free. And you all know out there that you don't learn about anything quite as much as when you do it. And with this, with the instructions we've given you and the wiki that we've pointed you to, you can actually build your own WebRTC implementation and try it out for free. So gatewaying, media, all that kind of stuff. If you need any Asterisk-related hardware, your cards, your very special Digium phones, then always think about Digium. And we're back in Atlanta at the Renaissance Waverly, which is actually connected to this centre as well. It's all happening in October, the week beginning the 7th of October. But with that, I can honestly say that the pleasure has been all yours, and we'd like to say thank you.